Hey guys, Kelade here. So season 1 of Dragonflight is about to begin. The raid's about to come out, Mythic Plus, PvP, all that stuff. I wanted to go over some of the Mythic Plus and AoE stuff because I think there's a bit more, I would say, variety in there, and that there's two choices that we can currently go for. Whereas for single target, right now, I think you just kind of go for the Raging Blow build, and that's kind of it for that. But for AoE, there's kind of two main builds, and I kind of mentioned them briefly in the previous video, but there's one which is the Raging Blow build, right? Which, you know, the most important thing is that you're getting all of these Raging Blow talents, right? You're obviously getting the 2 whirlwind stuff. These whirlwinds are taken across the board as long as you're doing AoE. But the biggest thing here is the cooldowns that you get, right? So Spirit Bastion here, Odin's Fury, and Ravager being kind of your main AoE bursts in this setup. And then you also have the other build, which is the Annihilator AoE build, which is going to be very similar, with the exception you can kind of see it now. Instead of Spirit Bastion, going for Thunderous Roar, instead of going down this avenue of Reckless Abandon or whatever Unbridled Ferocity, but going down Stormer Swords and Annihilator. And of course, instead of doing Raging Blow stuff, you're going to do like Coastal Hot Blood and stuff that increases the damage of your Bloodthirst and such. I think alternatively, there are some things that you can change in some of these builds, like for example, for Mythic Plus, Fresh Meat is always a good talent to take. So if there's any talents here that you feel like are not as valuable to you, you can feel free to change those. But I think the main thing to focus on is just kind of like the bottom talents here, right? As you change to Annihilator, as you pick up Thunder's Roar, just how much damage you expect to do. And I want to make sure that the caveat, and I'll show this right here, is that like I'm going to show you the sims that I've done recently of all of these, is that when you played right now in Mythic Zeros, it's not going to be perfectly clear on what's strong because everything dies so fast. And you guys can see it here. I'm going to put up a hectic ad cleave that details, from 20-second sims to a minute and 20-second sim. So depending on how long the AoE pull is or how long time you want to track, you don't really need to go further than this, because once you go over that, all of your cooldowns come back up and kind of resets, right? Especially in the Mythic Plus setting. So you can see here, there's that one point where if your AoE is less than 20 seconds, right? Or less than 40 seconds in that 20-second range, hectic cleave at when you sim it, ads are up for around 40% of the time. So a very, very short period of time to actually burst the ads. This is the one place where I can say that the Annihilator build actually has an advantage and can actually be significantly better. But the problem is this depends on you just going out there and AoEing the ads as fast as you can and them dying as fast as you can. So on lower keys, also in places where your tank just pulls a lot of ads, like when I say a lot of ads, I mean like 8+ or double-digit number of ads, then I think Annihilator build can work, but do know that it does drop off very, very quickly as the fight length goes on and as the targets are not as great. So if you're like in a pug group and your tank pulls one group at a time, I think it's very, very difficult for you to make Annihilator stronger than Raging Blow. And kind of some of the reasons for that, right? For example, like Thunder's Roar, there's no target cap that is seen here. Same with Odin's Fury, right? Like your two kind of main AoEs, of course, just Ravager, which is on both builds, but both Odin's Fury and Thunder's Roar, there is no target cast. Whereas for Spirit Bastion, it deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets, and Ravager deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. I think that's the other caveat I should mention, is that Thunder's Roar, it doesn't matter if you're moving. Same with Odin's Fury, right? But Spirit Bastion, one of the biggest values that you're going to get from Spirit Bastion is still the Elysian Might, where if you stand in the spear, your critical damage is increased by 25%. That's wonderful, but the problem is if there's any movement involved, right? If your tank is pulling one group and going to the next group, and they're not in your spear, you no longer get that bonus, and you don't even get a lot of this, right? Same with the Ravager. Ravager does move, but if the ads are being dragged across the room, it's not going to move fast enough. So these are just some things to take into consideration. On paper, all the sims here, I'll post like 4 different sims right now, ranging from 1 to 10 ads at 4 different time differences, right, for sims. So there's 20-second sims, 40-second sims, 60-second sims, and then there is a 90-second sims, just to give you like 4 different views of where it is. As you can kind of see, similar to the hectic ad cleave, this is just by number of targets. This is not like nobody dies in this until the end of the sim. So in 20-second sims, there is a point where once you reach 8 targets, Annihilator starts beating Raging Blow. At 40-second sims, that seems to happen or will happen once you go beyond 10 targets. For 60-second sims and 90-second sims, even at 10 targets, Radiant Blow is still better. But of course, this is what I'm saying, like if you go like the higher double digit, that's where it starts giving and starts to being stronger. Want to just quickly put this out so you guys can kind of see like the two builds that are available. I've also tried different variations of like, you know, with Thunder's Roar, you know, can we go for Rex's Abandon, all this stuff. But these two are definitely the strongest bursts. And funny enough, they both have 1.5 minute burst. So that doesn't really change much. Like the amount of times that you can burst with each build are kind of the same. So regardless of which one you go with, I actually don't think the playstyle differs that much. It's just as a filler, are you pressing Raging Blow more or Bloodthirst more? I think that's really the main difference. The other thing I want to note is that, as of course, as we talk about Mythic Plus, one of the things is that it's kind of hard right now until I guess it comes out or there's just some buggy stuff here to kind of see like what are the actual loot drops from the other Mythic dungeons, Mythic Plus that we're gonna get that are not from this expansion. One easy way is that if you go to raid bots and you actually do Droptimizer, and then if you actually put in your SimC stuff there, it's going to give you all the items that can drop. So for example, when you do Droptimizer and you go to Mythic Plus dungeons here, and you do all dungeons, it is going to show you the full gamut of all the gear, including the dungeons that are kind of hard to see there, right? So for example, if you wanted to see what was in Quarter Stars, right, you can just select that. You can see all the loot that does drop from there. And then of course you can use this to sim what you want to go for. So I just did all dungeons. I just set it to 392 just from kind of like, you know, what's more realistically something that I can farm in the first week. Sim that up. And I think this is my Mythic Plus one, just to give you an idea of like what can upgrade, what are some good pieces. Obviously weapons and trinkets are going to be great. You know, things that just increases your eye level in the beginning are also going to be strong. And then of course, similarly on Droptimizer, you can also do it with the raid. So I just did hero because there's probably no chance I'm doing Mythic the first week. So yeah, I think this is probably a good idea just for you guys to understand like what bosses, what dungeons drop what gear. Similarly, this can be done for PvP, but I think PvP is safer because you just pick the item that you want. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Just want to give you guys a quick glimpse of the two different builds. I think you can definitely do both, but Raging Blow is definitely safer to use, but Annihilator is not too far behind. But yeah, thanks for checking out the video, guys. Feel free to subscribe to see more. See ya.